Here are some photos taken right before disaster, part 3. Here is the last photo ever taken of Paul Walker. It shows him climbing into the car that eventually crashed, taking him and the driver's lives back in 2013. Craziest part is, Paul Walker wasn't even the one driving. The guy driving was a professional race car driver. And the saddest part is that all this happened at a charity event that Paul Walker was hosting. RIP. This photo was taken right before the homage bombing. The red car in this photograph right here contained a bomb that killed 29 people and injured some 220 others. Surprisingly, the man and child both survived, but the photographer didn't. This unsuspecting family snapped the last moments of Ayano's life. The 20-year-old student in the red threw herself over the railings outside of the Niagara Falls to her death. That's super sad. Pretty cool!
Dating in Utah be like, let's build gingerbread houses out of cardboard and light them on fire.
Let's go to Squaw.
Let's make cookies and do our family history. Maybe we're related.
Doesn't even make sense. Let's knit using trash bags from our food store. Am I supposed to be putting an American accent?
People are shocked at what happened at this house in Arkansas, and people are calling it a real-life horror movie. So this house is known to be one of the most beautiful houses in Arkansas, and it's used for wedding venues, events, and all kinds of things like that. I wonder if people would be getting married there if they knew that an awful murder took place there, not once, but twice. This is Martha McKay, the owner of the house. She recently was found murdered inside the house. Okay, but it gets much stranger than that. Not only was she murdered in this house, but 24 years ago, her mother was also murdered in this house by the exact same man. This is Travis Lewis. He murdered Sally McKay, Martha's mother, in the same house 24 years ago when he was 17 years old and was out on parole from that murder. After he murdered Martha McKay this week, he ran out back and jumped in the river and committed suicide. I wouldn't get caught dead at this house.
This is why you always say yes to tandoori chicken. In 2012, a high school tutor and her student stayed up so late one night studying that by the time they were done, the buses had stopped running. Without another way home, the student asked if he could stay the night at her place. Reluctantly, she agreed. When they got back to the apartment, she fell asleep on her bed and he fell asleep on a blanket next to her bed on the ground. A few hours later, she wakes up to the boy standing awkwardly in the middle of the room with a very strange look on his face. She asks him, "What's wrong?" He looks at her and says, "I'm really hungry. Let's go get some tandoori chicken." Confused, she says, "It's 2 a.m. Just get a snack in the cupboard." And he grabs her by the arm and he says, "No, we are getting tandoori chicken right now." And he yanks her from the bed. Feeling totally caught off guard by this whole situation, she goes into the hall with the boy, and as soon as the door shuts behind them, she can tell that he is terrified. He looks at her and just says, "I'm not actually hungry. When I woke up, there was someone under your bed."
Yo, what's up? Here's some scary facts about our world that you probably didn't want to know. Part 20. Before Michael Jackson actually passed away, 5 hours before he died, someone posted the exact way and time he would die. And it was 100% accurate, and it did happen that exact way. Facebook actually shut down 2 robots that they created known as Alice and Bob because they started talking to each other in their own language. Yeah, I probably would have shut them down too. The CIA once came out with a weapon that kind of mimicked the behavior of a taser, but instead of sending electricity through the body, it gave the same symptoms and reactions as a heart attack would, and it was known as the heart attack gun. Halloween actually started out with people using real animal heads and skin as their Halloween costumes, and so that they could fit in with other spirits to make sure the spirits thought that they were actually spirits so that they could pass and roam. In 2008, a boy named James was gifted with an Elmo doll, and as soon as they put the batteries in the Elmo doll, the doll exclaimed, "Kill James." Yeah, I don't know where they bought that doll at.
So after hiking short of an hour through a tunnel, we'd come out and found this weird pipe thing. It was hard to walk on the top of it, so we had to take these really old wood steps on the side. Under Charlie here is a legit 30-foot fall, and this wood was really old and didn't seem sturdy. And not to mention, I am in sandals. Don't try this at home, kids. We eventually got fed up with those weird wood things on the side, so we just decided to try to go over the top of this thing. It went on for a few miles, just cutting through the sides of this mountain. We weren't really sure if we were going to find anything, but we had hope. My feet were really torn up, as you can see, and hurt a lot, which poses a problem in the near future. But as you can see, we found another tunnel, but this one was really far. As you can see, we could see the light on the other side, but still creepy nonetheless. We kept following this line because there were little routes on the side and we didn't want to get lost. And we also found, evidence that this thing's collapsed before. The water started to get deep, but we found the exit. Come back to see what's on the outside and what happens to my poor foot.
This is why you should never let your dog lick you at night. This is a story of a 10-year-old in France. She is the only daughter of a rich family. Her parents aren't usually home, so she has a dog for company. When she's sleeping, her dog is always under the bed. When she feels afraid sometimes, she let her hand under the bed and the dog licks it. Knowing that the dog is here, she feels more safe. One night, her parents were gone for a dinner, so she went to sleep as usual with her dog. But in the middle of the night, she woke up because of a noise. She heard scratching and squeaking and got afraid because of a story her father told her. As usual, she put her hand under the bed and the dog licked it. She felt safe again and fell asleep. Next morning, she couldn't find her dog. She went downstairs and she saw that something was written on the mirror. Dogs aren't the only animals that lick, and it was written in blood. Inside the kitchen, she found her dog dead in a pool of blood. When her parents found her, she was disturbed and she could only say, "Who licked me?" And according to investigations, the dog was dead since the beginning of the night. Who or what do you think licked her?
Urban Japanese Legends Part 6. If you don't want to get scared, stop watching and scroll. The Okiku doll is a doll that is inhabited by a spirit of a young girl. In 1918, a young man bought this doll for his younger sister. The two were inseparable until the young girl died. After her death, the family noticed the doll's hair growing. The doll is 40 centimeters tall and wears a traditional kimono. She has black hair, black bead eyes, and lifelike flesh on the face. Every year, its hair needs to be trimmed since it's continuously growing.